Hey everybody, I'm going to start uploading more videos to my personal YouTube channel because I want to try to get 2 or 3 major channels running now that America 2.0 is actually starting to take off. Uh, I've heard a lot of different things and what people want me to say in terms of all my medical history, in terms of uh, where my family's been and everything else, and why I should actually be on here. And I haven't hit that point where I can actually talk openly about my medical problems and stuff like that on the internet yet. So I'm gonna kind of put that on hold for a little bit as far as those videos. So this will hopefully give an intro. Uh, Sorry about all the moving, folks. I have things written down. I'm still kind of choked up just to say it out loud, but nothing here is going to be amazing. My early years started off kind of rough. Still kind of rough, but less than my early years. My early years were spent in Dearborn, Michigan, approximately 1985 to about 1999, with little breaks here and there. First 10 years of my life, I was pretty much in and out of the hospital for everything you can probably imagine, until we narrow it down to what medical problems and everything. But at about the age of 10, me and a couple doctors sat around with all the big 6-inch binders, and we added up all the time I was in the hospital at that point. And during the first 10 or 11 years, it was added up that I was in DMC Children's of Detroit for about 2.6 years. That was mainly around the holidays in the winter area, every 6 weeks or so. A couple things that decreased along the time is puberty. When puberty hit, my immune system finally got good. I stopped going to the hospital. When my family stopped smoking, that obviously helped tremendously. Uh, I don't have a lot of memories, folks, the first 10 years or so. I have probably, I would say, less than 20 memories that I can actually tell you about, that I can physically write down, because of how many drugs and different things I was on. Uh, so, when I'm asked about my early years, things that come up are the hospital visits, all the sitting and waiting for surgeries, all the doctor visits, all the hearing mindless doctors speak about shit they shouldn't, um, all the time sitting in waiting rooms and x-rays and waiting for this asshole to talk to that asshole. And none of them in the end want anything more than your fucking checkbook, so that's where that is. Uh, my father, I think I've mentioned this before, used to go to Arizona a lot on business trips. There's that. I remember the family's trailer at Camp Dearborn in Milford, Michigan, when we still had that. Uh, I'm still working, folks, on who to mention, who not to mention, some of the details like that. And hopefully that gets easier as time goes on. I think I have permission to speak about my sisters, but I'm not going to in this video. Uh, there's a lot of cool things that happened in Dearborn, at least growing up, to me. My grandfather was an old guy that knew pretty much everybody in the city. He had lived there for like 35 years, folks. So he knew everybody. Um, there was talk that he was in the Italian mafia, that he knew people in the Italian mafia, that he could get anything anywhere. And the truth is, folks, nobody knows. My grandfather was a Yugoslavian uh, immigrant, came over here when he was about 5, I believe. Uh, he basically grew up in this area, best as I understand it, and he settled in Dearborn about the time he got out of the army when he fought over in Korea for the Korean War. He served in the Army in the 10th Tank Division, I think it was. I'm not doing the zooming, folks. It's doing it itself for some reason. I think it's when I steer at something. Yeah, see, okay, yeah. So when I have my head positioned a certain way, I can learn how it'll zoom in and out. Um, but there were rumors that my grandfather was in the Italian mafia. Everything. I've asked the FBI for his files. They say if there is anything, it's in a storage locker way before the computers got systematically rearranged. So chances of finding if he actually had a file or anything is next to zilch. And what there is now is, you know, a box like this can become a box like this, can become a file like that in a number of years after someone dies. So even for historical purposes, I still haven't even been shown that he was or was not. Uh, there was a lot of talk, a lot of things going on, people you didn't talk to, things that if they happened, you were to tell them right away, different things, different weird shit like that. Uh, again, I don't know, folks. But things I do remember, for the most part, I was half dead all the time, so I got treated well no matter what. Uh, I survived so much shit. I do have survivor's guilt. I'm probably certain I have PTSD. I looked up something today, a caffeine usage disorder or use disorder. I probably have that. A bunch of other things, folks. And as time goes on, I'll be able to talk about things more openly, but I can't talk about some things more than others, even in the past, because they relate to other people, and I don't know who views these videos. So there are things that I cannot speak about entirely, and things that I can't go on record about entirely. Just like, well, there are always going to be some things you can't say online, folks. I could come out and say my grandfather, you know, was a good guy I knew, grew up in the army, did his patriotic duty, and I still think today that in, I think it was July 5, either 1995 or 1996, that he was, best of my knowledge, folks, he was killed. He was assassinated. We were coming home, or rather, it was, I think it was the July 4th holiday weekend. He was coming home from Camp Dearborn or something. We came home early for some reason. He went to a buddy's house where they all played poker. There was somebody new. He came back really tired, which he never did, even at like 63, 64. And he went to bed. He woke up, used the bathroom, went to bed again, and then he was dead, folks. And I talk about that because that's a huge part of what I, you know, part of my being is surrounding that fact and something that happened to my sister and I in Dearborn, which I can't go on record talk about because I haven't fully been given permission by all parties. but there was something that happened. It was really tragic, and I was never really brought into the inner loop on that. And I've always had PTSD. I pretty much believe I've had PTSD since I've been about 6 from that alone. And, just about anything major you can think of relating to that, but I can't get into that. That's just one of the baby kittens my mother brought in. Okay, so anyways, my father used to go to Arizona, folks, on business trips, and we used to stay in these really nice apartments in Arizona. I think it was the Scottsdale Apartments, I think. We don't go there anymore, so I can talk about that. One of the best things I saw was we were actually at the Biodome in Arizona. I think during the last couple of days they were filming in Biodome. So we actually got to see the actors actually in there and everything. It was pretty cool. They had them all in like one little area. Lots of great stuff. There's a well, I don't have a map, so I can't talk about that to really pinpoint it. But if you're ever in the Scottsdale area, I think they're getting ready to move, or they have moved. But there was a rawhide theme park, and I think it's a theme park and steak restaurant now. Not certain, but it's an old western town. They got different things set up, like a petting zoo, little shooting galleries for BB guns, different Western themed stuff like that, and that was always a good time to go there. And I got a couple cool stories from that. I'm trying to figure out what I can and cannot say, but I'm just trying to give this as an intro. Obviously, I'm not giving a whole list of details, but I'm trying. Uh, when I was in Dearborn, I'll just come out and say it. For elementary school, I went to Woodward Elementary. And due to my medical problems, at or around third grade, I got shipped over to Lowry, which could handle, you know, special education better. And the only reason I needed that at the time was because I was missing so much of school that I eventually had to repeat. I think it was third grade, and oh, I missed like, like the 105 days you're not supposed to miss. That's pretty much what I missed. That got bad, folks. Got real bad real quick, and so that's a little bit on that. Again, I'm not really comfortable with what to tell you about my personal life in this area. Again, I really don't have a lot I can talk about that I have express permission to talk about. Uh, there's not a lot, folks. I can come out a little bit more later, but basically this is an intro, and see, here's the thing, folks. I know one of my buddies really well, is all over the place, and I know he would be the first one to probably call me on this if I said, hey, this, and my family would call me on some stuff and things like that, because my buddy's really big into businesses in Metro Detroit and stuff. So I can't talk about some of the stuff he's doing and some of the earlier stuff like that. I can't talk about some of the relationships I had in Dearborn because one of the family members is currently I think he's still in one of the news agencies. Uh, but that was a romantic relationship back then. Uh, so as far as becoming YouTube famous, for my personal identity, I'm trying, folks. I just need more permission on what to allow and what not to. And there's just so many ifs and whats and everything. And I'm trying to get my nephew to do a channel on his disease that he has, because I told him in about 2 years of running it, he could easily have the money enough to pay for all the bills. So I'm doing everything I can to make that happen. And I got my little nephew to start it, but he only has 2 videos, and he had that up for like 2 months, and I've only gotten like 10 views. So I guess I can push his out there with America 2.0 and this one getting at least some views. I can push his channel. It's called Taterade Charades. You can just type it up. Eventually you'll find it on YouTube. And that'll be his little pet project for the next couple of years. Trying to get like 100 videos probably in the next 8 months. I'm trying not to do everything for him, but he wants to do like little video game things and Lego videos and stuff like that. And so that's that. But I really don't have a lot of memories of Dearborn, ladies and gentlemen, and the 1985 to 1999 part of my life. Again, I said I have 20 to 25 memories or so. That's not exactly totally true, but it's limited. I mean, I can give you 5 memories from, after that revolutionized my life that I probably can't talk about because I don't have permission from the people. And if I were to mention this person or that person, they don't talk to me. They find this online. They'd say, oh, you don't have permission, but you're making, 27,000 hits or something. But I'll start doing this in chapters, folks, and I'll get this done a little bit better. I originally planned to write a book, but there's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about in the book. Even if I were to read it chapter by chapter, which it's an amazing book, and quite soon I'm going to be able to tie up a bunch of stuff and write how I got a lot of money from a lot of shit that's been going on for a lot of years, but I might have to go to jail for a little bit in order to close that chapter due to a long list of shit that was civil, and this person said that, and that person said this. Doesn't matter what part you take it from. I could go back to 2001 and claim shit that I think got set up and everything, and it won't matter. But it is what it is. So this is my 1985 to 1999 intro, or in the early years. I'll try to come back with more details and everything else, folks. And I'll do my best to do 1 major upload a day on this channel, but I can't really do a whole lot without major permissions. Not to mention the people that I know have sensitive backgrounds and stuff like that. My sister works for one of the major automotive industries. If I do a video and I get a little loopy or a little this or say a little bit of that, her job might be on the line, my father's job might be on the line. So it's the internet, folks, and I'm doing the best I can with the information I have. So hopefully the next one I can get into better details and everything else. Thank you.